spin-ups. So if we start to see that rotation, signs of rotation in the atmosphere, it's better safe than sorry there. And that's why they did go ahead an hour or so, and we'll continue to track for about the next 20 minutes or so. So impacts, of course, potential flying debris, anything of that nature. And we're looking at portions of Hart, Grayson, South Central, Hardin counties as well. The cities included in this tornadic thunderstorm, basically we're looking at Rock Creek, Seven Corners, Bonneville, Broad Ford, Flint Hill, Snap, Clarkson, Royal as well. And you can see as we continue to zoom inward who all is impacted by this. It does look like we do have a live picture from outside. We're going to take you outside. This is around LaRue County here, so continuing southward on 65, getting a little bit closer to that segment of thunderstorms that we're seeing that's showing some rotation. That's currently in Grayson County and is moving east into Hart and Hardin counties as well. So even if you're not included in any of these warnings, if you're heading out early this morning, you may be impacted by this segment of showers and thunderstorms that we're seeing across Kentuckiana this morning. Heavy rainfall, frequent lightning, gusty winds, and even from the overnight hours, we got some impressive rainfall totals that are leading to some ponding on the roads in some spots. You can see that lightning that just lit up the sky there. We had reports of cloud to ground lightning, which is particularly dangerous last night. So this is a pretty potent storm system that we are tracking here. And once again, we're taking a live look out as we track storms. This is LaRue County. LaRue not included in that tornado warning, so our photojournalist is safe as she is out and about on the roads this morning. But once again, we are tracking some areas that are dealing with some rotation here. And that's what we're seeing here in the red polygon. That's your tornado warning. That is why we are wall to wall with this coverage this morning. So your Max HD radar showing that segment of storms. As I mentioned, this is just this one segment here. So these storms have been tracking through. We had some heavy rainfall, lightning, gusty winds in Louisville, nothing severe warned, nothing tornado warned. But as we mentioned before, basically our big concern overnight was the potential for one or two storms, one or two little segments that show just enough rotation to trigger a tornado warning. And hey, that's exactly what we're seeing this morning. So this is for Grayson, Hardin, portions of Hart counties. This does not include E-Town. This is basically far southern Hardin County as that storm continues to track eastward. Let me clear some of this out for you to make it a little bit more visible here. So the storm has moved east, southeast of Litchfield. You all are in the clear from this right now. It's basically over Millerstown, moving toward Upton, Bonneville, Sonora as well. I've been mentioning that these storms are moving fairly quickly, 50 to 55 miles per hour. So that's actually a good thing because that means it gets in and out of these areas very quickly. It's not sticking in your particular area for all too long. So you like to see some pretty quick movement here, and that is what we're seeing with this segment of storms, with this line of storms that we're seeing across Kentuckiana this morning. And our severe weather threat really was more so in south central Kentucky, and that's exactly what we're seeing at this time. So this tornado warning has been stretched eastward, has continued eastward towards 65 there, and we'll be moving towards areas like Sonora, Bonneville as well. Sonora, you might be right on that northeastern edge, but Bonneville, I would stay in your safe place for now until this storm has cleared in the next 20 minutes or so. So let's take a big picture view once again of what we're looking at this morning. So the severe weather potential today, they did upgrade it to a 2 out of 5 rather than a 1 out of 5. But those marginal risks that we see, really you have to pay attention to because they can cause spin-ups pretty quickly. As I mentioned, all it takes is one or two storms to really pack a punch, especially if it's right over you. So your severe weather outlook, this is actually for later on today, starting at 7 o'clock this morning. Before that, we have a level 2 out of 5 for some areas. I'm going to see if I can go into this graphic and update that for you. But as we know, we are seeing that coverage this morning. Let's see. Oh, it won't let me back up. Okay, so this is for the second round of storms later on today. That severe weather outlook level 1 out of 5 there. And I'm going to go to the Storm Prediction Center website to see if there's any update on that for basically what our biggest threats would be. This morning we were concerned about an isolated spin-up tornado. It's basically as a warm front is lifting through. And I do believe I can put the wind map on here so you can kind of see where the winds are flowing into this storm. I do believe, here we go. So we are getting that strong southwest wind here. That's as that warm front continues to lift, meeting that west wind. These are wind particles showing you where those winds are coming from. And right around that boundary, that's where we're seeing some rotation throughout the atmosphere. So that is why we do have that severe thunderstorm warning followed by a tornado warning for portions of Grayson County. That's continuing to move eastward into Hart and Hardin counties this morning. And I'm going to go ahead and let me clear this out so we can put a track on that storm that we're watching for you. So it was first showing rotations, I would say, around Caneyville. Since then, it's tracked south of Litchfield and is continuing eastward into Millerstown, Sonora, Upton, Bonnieville as well. It's moving about 55 miles per hour here. And it says east, but I feel like it's moving a little bit more southeast. So Buffalo, 549 here in the next few minutes for you. Bonnieville, 455. Bloyd, 507. So we'll see if it continues to hang together as it moves eastward. I don't believe it's showing any signs of rotation here as it continues to track east and southeastward. So we'll have to watch if it continues into areas like Greene County as well this morning. Because basically we have just the right setup for rotation across basically the southern edge of this storm system, of this line of storms that we are seeing early on this Thursday morning. So plenty of pockets of heavy rainfall, frequent lightning as well. We did get some reports of hail overnight in some spots. That was closer to, I would say, the Lexington metro area. And that was due to more elevated thunderstorms that we were seeing there. So I'm going to check once again with the National Weather Service, see if there's any new information for us here. I think we're just going to kind of hang tight with this warning until it has expired in the next 15 minutes. Yes, they've continued the tornado warning here until 6 a.m. Eastern Time, 5 a.m. Central Standard Time for northwestern Hart, east central Grayson, south central Hardin counties due to this severe thunderstorm warning, producing enough rotation to where a tornado is possible. It was first spotted 8 miles southeast of Litchfield, and it continues to move eastward around 55 miles per hour. Tornado, quarter-size hail possible with this storm. This is why you do want to stay indoors, head indoors, stay indoors as we do continue to track this storm as it moves closer to 65 there. So ending up in Bonnieville, we'll see if they continue to hang with it as it pushes eastward. I don't think, as I mentioned before, I don't think there's any update about dropping it anytime soon. So if you're just now tuning in with us, good Thursday morning. This is meteorologist Mallory Schnell here with WHAS 11. We are tracking a weather impact alert warning due to this tornado warning that you're seeing there in the red polygon. This is until 5 o'clock Central Standard Time. Portions of Grayson, Hart, and Hardin counties, basically where they all intersect there, included in this due to just enough rotation to trigger a tornado warning. And that is exactly what we are seeing this morning. So thank you for joining us this morning. We are staying put with you because we do want to get you through this storm. Anytime there's a tornado warning issued for the Kentuckiana viewing area, we stick with you until it has cleared. So we're seeing this long line of storms here, and it's continuing to track east-southeastward pretty quickly towards the east and southeast, around 50 to 55 miles per hour. I can zoom out for you here. You can see the bigger segments. Many of us not dealing with severe weather this morning. This is just this one little segment of this line of thunderstorms here that's showing some rotation. because we have the right environment here. We have a warm front that's been lifting. Those temperatures have been increasing through the overnight hours. Louisville, we jumped 20 degrees in the matter of an hour or 2 hours here this morning. So we have a little bit more fuel and just enough rotation. That's all you need, just enough to trigger a tornado warning this morning. And I mentioned this before, just because a tornado warning has issued doesn't mean a tornado has been visually spotted. It basically means that there was enough rotation as seen on radar to go ahead and trigger it for you and to really play it safe rather than sorry. And that's basically what we're seeing this morning. Continuing to move over Millerstown, heading towards Sonora, Upton, Bonneville. You all want to be in your safe place this morning as this storm system tracks east and southeastward due to the severe weather setup that we do have this morning. So just a few reminders as we continue throughout storm season here. Tornado warning safety. Of course, you want to be away from windows, preferably in a basement. If you do not have a basement, an interior room is best, like a hallway, a bathroom, a closet. You always have that severe weather safety kit handy, and stay tuned to, of course, your local meteorologist to get you through it here. So we are tracking just that one particular storm. This is not an outbreak. This is why we just have that quote marginal risk, but marginal risks can be sneaky. And that's exactly what we are seeing this morning here with this storm around the Grayson County, Hart County, Hardin County as well. Seeing if we have any updates this morning from the National Weather Service. Does look like we do have one unread. So an update, which is good news. Right now, the Grayson Hart storm seems to be struggling to organize. No plans to tornado warn downstream at the moment, which we do like to hear here. So as I mentioned, a lot of these environments that we see with line segments like this, it's a very quick spin up kind of situation where there is just enough rotation to trigger a storm, but then just as quickly as it forms, it can also fall apart. They don't plan on extending this further into Hardin and Hart counties, which is good news this morning. But we are going to take a live shot here. Wow, you can see it looks like the rain is moving sideways. This is around Upton this morning as we are tracking these strong to severe storms. This is on 84 West here. Once again, we are dealing with some really potent storm activity across south central Kentucky this morning. We've had some severe thunderstorm warnings issued, a tornado warning issued as well. And you can see our photojournalist driving around Upton this morning. John is driving around Upton this morning, and that rain is just basically moving sideways at this point. So very strong winds from these storms that we're seeing. This severe thunderstorm warning issued earlier still is in place until 5 a.m. for portions of Butler, Edmonson, Grayson counties as well. And it does look like this particular storm here has continued to trim downward, which we do like to see. So this is where our photojournalist was located around Upton, around 65, just east of that tornado warned storm. And you can tell that those raindrops were flying sideways, whether in or out of the storm there, due to these very strong winds. Even outside of the tornado warned cell, we could be dealing with wind gusts up to around 60 miles per hour. So definitely not safe to be outdoors. You want to get into that interior room if you are still included in this tornado warning. We could also be dealing with hail up to an inch in diameter. I'll see if it's picking up on any hail, our particular system here. I don't believe it is, but that is still a potential this morning. And we've been seeing a lot of rain, so ponding on the roads. You can see radar estimated rainfall over the last 24 hours. Some spots picking up 1 to 2+ inches of rainfall. So ponding, minor flooding, certainly issues that we could be seeing around town, and not even in the tornado or severe thunderstorm warned areas. This is pretty much all across the Kentuckiana viewing area from the storms that we had yesterday evening, overnight into this morning. A few rounds, a lot of moisture to tap into there. And as this warm front has been lifting northward, as I mentioned, that basically gives you the kind of environment where you don't have a ton of storm energy, but you have enough of what's called shear. And that can give you some rotation. That's why we just have that very small segment now of this line of storms. So even if it's storming where you are, doesn't mean you're necessarily included in a severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado warning, but we do have portions of the Kentuckiana viewing area that are included in this. So now this has been trimmed away from Grayson County. Grayson County, you're in the clear of the tornado warning, but many of you all in the south part of the county still included in a severe thunderstorm warning. That means you could still be dealing with wind gusts up to around 60 miles per hour there. But this red polygon, that is your tornado warning. So this is continuing eastward towards 65. Riders Mill, Lone Star included in this tornado warning, until 5 o'clock. So for about the next 9 minutes here. And according to the National Weather Service, they're not expecting to extend this further eastward. It's struggling to kind of stay with it, stay organized there. It does look like some reports of hail from these storms as well. I'm going to see where this is from. This just says one of the emergency managers in the state showing quite a bit of heavy or large hail in portions of the area. So once again, these storms warned for winds, that threat of a circulation that we're seeing, especially with this storm that's tracking towards 65 in Hardin and Harts counties. And the threat for hail, along with heavy rainfall, frequent lightning as well this morning. So I'm going to see if the speed has changed at all on this storm that we've been tracking for you for about the last 45 minutes here. Still moving east at 55 miles per hour. The hazards, tornado, quarter-sized hail as well. So this is for north central Harts, south central Hardin counties, because this severe thunderstorm warning just a few moments ago was still around 11 miles north of Munfordville, moving east at 55 miles per hour here. So I can go ahead and put that track on here, even though we're not expecting this to continue in terms of a tornado warning. Still good to know its track that it's on. So I'm going to pull out our squall here to show you the direction that it's moving. So it's moving east at 55 miles per hour, jetting along pretty quickly with this segment of storms here. Upton 553. So right about now, we're expecting that storm in your area, of course. Magnolia 601. Allendale 511, your local time. So this is continuing to track eastward. They're not expecting this to continue in terms of the tornado warning, but still a strong storm because we've had this severe thunderstorm warning on the backside of this as well. More so in Butler, Edmonson, Grayson counties, and this is due to the threat of 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and also quarter-sized hail as well. So that looks like it may expire in the next 5 minutes. Big picture view showing this line segment that's basically draping the state here, all the way over to Maysville, down to just north of Bowling Green, Hopkinsville as well. This is the only warned part of this segment that we've been tracking this morning. This far southern flank here. Basically, we have a warm front lifting, we have a cold front behind, and we have just enough lift, just enough rotation, where the National Weather Service thought it was concerning enough to issue a tornado warning for this particular storm. Started around Caneyville, marched just south of Litchfield, and is now moving toward Upton this morning. So as I mentioned, it's moving around 55 miles per hour. So this is a very quick moving storm. I can put the movement on this here as it continues to track east and southeastward this morning, more so east, heading toward Magnolia as well. So let's take a big picture view for you of other spots in Kentuckiana, since we're looking to hopefully drop this tornado warning, but I'll stay until it's official for you. Want to make sure you're still in your safe place for the next 5 minutes if you are included in this. So this is east of Millerstown. Around Upton, I'd go ahead and stay inside your safe place as well. Lone Star included in this. It's just north of Bonnieville, but good idea to stay indoors until this storm passes for you, Bonnieville, because even without the tornado signature on it, still tracking the potential for 60-mile-per-hour wind gust, quarter-sized hail, heavy rainfall, and frequent lightning as well. But we're tracking this first round of storms this morning. We do have another potential round later on this afternoon and evening. That second round looks to be more so south of the parkways as well. So Easttown, Bardstown areas southward, definitely south of Louisville. And I can put a future cast on for you for the rest of the day here, so you can get your forecast, get you out the door if you're not included in these severe warnings. So this is wave number 1 this morning. That's going to continue to track southward. We get dry time midday and into the afternoon. And then another chance of showers and thunderstorms is possible. A few of these could pack a punch. Still looking at that level 1 out of 5 for severe weather potential later on today, likely due to gusty winds, maybe the threat of any kind of hail with any kind of elevated storms. And then that will move out pretty quickly this evening with drier conditions tonight and into the day tomorrow. And as that cold front clears, we're going to get some clearing tomorrow, a bit more sunshine as well, and also some cooler temperatures. So this SPC outlook for later on today, you can see staying south. And any kind of tornado potential will be more so, I would say, around the London area. So not so much in Kentuckiana. We'd be looking at the potential for maybe another rogue storm with some gusty winds or some hail associated with it. So I'm going to take you back to the warning map here. If you're just now joining us on Good Morning Kentuckiana, some good news here. It looks like I might be able to wrap up and we can get to the news of the day as well. Of course, I'll continue to track this weather for you here. But the red, that's your tornado warning that we've been tracking for almost the past hour now as it continues to head towards 65. Beyond that, it looks like they have extended a severe thunderstorm warning. So that's what you're seeing in the yellow. Now, this doesn't mean that the rotation is necessarily done, but it does mean that rotation is weak enough to where they were able to drop the tornado warning moving forward. So that yellowish color that you're seeing there, this is a severe thunderstorm warning for portions of northwestern Greene County, southern LaRue County, northeastern Hart County, northwestern Taylor County, and southern Hardin County until 6:30. That's a severe thunderstorm that's moving east around 50 miles per hour. And the hazards there would be 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, quarter-sized hail as well. So it does look like we are going to wrap up this tornado warning coverage here. If my producer, would you like me to toss to break? Okay, so we're going to head to break. Once again, this tornado warning is expiring here in the next 2 minutes, and we'll continue to keep you updated on air, online. You can always download the WHAS 11 app. You can see the QR code there, track the radar with us, watch us, live stream us as well on 11 Plus. We'll be back with the latest weather updates and news, of course, coming up. Stay with us.
All right, so it is 6:13 as everybody is joining us here this morning, and a bit of a big weather update here that we need to bring you to.
Yeah, we were tracking one tornado warning that is expired, but we want to get back to Mallory because we've had another one pop up in our viewing area. This one down closer to Taylor County, it looks like. And you can see from that map, we've seen that strong line of thunderstorms moving through the area all morning long. Mallory, the big red block is a little bit south of our viewing area, but we're concerned with that smaller one that's right over what you said about Taylor County area.
Yes, so we're seeing basically there are 4 different counties included in this one in the red polygon here. This is portions of Greene, Hart, LaRue, and Taylor counties there. It's moving toward Campbellsville this morning. And basically what we've been tracking all this morning is this line of thunderstorms that's having just enough rotation embedded within it to trigger some tornado warning. So if you were joining us the last hour, we had a tornado warning farther west around Upton, basically along and west of 65, more so into Grayson County, portions of Hart and Hardin. That has since expired, but not too far down the road, it does look like it is showing signs of rotation once again. So there's a tornado warning for Butler, Edmonson County. That is included in the Bowling Green viewing area, but what we are tracking here is included in our Kentuckiana viewing area here. So that is why we're going what's called wall-to-wall with this storm, basically where we stay with you through this tornado warning. And as I mentioned, if you were watching the last hour, anytime we have a tornado warning issue, that doesn't necessarily mean that there's eyeballs on a tornado touching the ground. It means a lot of times that we're seeing just enough rotation within the thunderstorm on radar, especially, times like these where they're overnight storms or they're early morning storms, where you're seeing these reds and greens here. That's just enough of broad rotation where we have to trigger that tornado warning. So reds and greens, that means they're going in different directions toward the radar site. That's a sure sign of rotation that we're seeing with some of these storms here. So basically our threat from the overnight hours was the potential for a few strong to severe storms, and those storms that could have been severe and are severe this morning have that rotation angle with them. So we did have some storms overnight that were sub-severe due to strong wind gusts, but nothing up to 60 miles per hour. Also some hail as well. But now we are tracking storms that are showing just enough rotation where you want to head indoors, you want to stay inside with these storms. So I'm going to get the full printout here, or the full list of this tornado warning. So this is in place for northwestern Greene County, south central LaRue County, northeastern Hart County, and northwestern Taylor County until 6:45 Eastern or 5:45 Central. According to the National Weather Service, around 6:10 or 5:10, depending on the time zone that you're in, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located 11 miles south of Hodgenville here. And it is moving toward the east around 40 miles per hour. It has the hazards of a potential tornado risk and also quarter-sized hail. You can see kind of the broader range of that. You can see the yellow on top of that tornado warning. That is a severe thunderstorm warning, basically mentioning that the rotation might not be there, but the threat for strong winds is certainly there, and also quarter-sized hail. So your 60-mile-per-hour wind gust potential, that's until 5:30 Central Time for that particular storm. But basically, this is all the same segment here. So you do want to head indoors. You want to head away from windows. I know it's been a while since we've had some severe weather here in Kentuckiana, but that is what we're tracking this morning on a February morning here. And it does look like they've also extended a severe thunderstorm warning to the south of there as well for more portions of Greene and Hart County. So I know there's a lot going on this map. If I zoom out, you can kind of see it's this one particular segment of this line. So this is the big picture view of this line that stretches basically all the way to the Ohio-West Virginia border, down to almost Bowling Green at this point. And a lot of us in the clear. You know, if you're north of here right now, you're not dealing with severe weather. So that is a big portion of our viewing area. Southern Indiana, you're not looking at severe weather this morning. Louisville Metro, you're clear. Roads may be wet as you head into work, but this line of storms now down to your south in south central Kentucky, moving towards areas like Campbellsville this morning, and eventually over to Columbia. But it's been pretty potent so far this morning, tapping into that warm front, the lift, the rotation that we're seeing, just enough to trigger a few tornado warnings this morning, and that's exactly what we're seeing at this time. And this is in place until 5:45 Central Time for this particular storm here. You can kind of see that notch. Anytime you're seeing something like this where you have a bit of inflow, you can have rotation with that, and that's probably what the National Weather Service is looking at there with this rotation that's moving with this particular storm. So when we let you go at the top of the hour with the previous tornado warning that we were watching, it was having a hard time kind of staying put, staying together. But with this kind of environment, a lot of times we can see spin-up tornadoes that then weaken and then kind of re-strengthen. And it moves into kind of a better environment for that kind of limited or isolated rotation. And that's what we're seeing with this particular storm. So I'm going to put a track on this for you as it moves eastward around 40 miles per hour. So let me get the right tool in our toolbox and push this eastward. Areas like Campbellsville, I would say go ahead and stay in your safe place, because as we saw before, the tornado warning was expired, and then just about 10 or 15 minutes later, this line of storms is showing just enough rotation to trigger more tornado warnings down the line. So Bradfordsville, this would be in your area around 6:31 this morning. Mansville, 6:46 this morning. Saloma, 6:20 this morning with this storm. Of course, that's right at this time, so it's basically right over you at this point. And this is in place for Greene and Taylor counties until 6:45 here. Let me zoom out, because I did see something about a tornado watch being issued. And that would be new news to us this morning. There we are. So a tornado watch has been issued this morning for all of the areas that you see in that kind of salmon red color. I'm assuming the National Weather Service just saw enough rotation with this line of storms that they thought, hey, let's get everybody prepared for this. It's in place until 11 a.m. Eastern time. Of course, for most of us, that's not how long this threat's going to last. For us, For our particular counties that are highlighted here, this is probably going to last the next hour or so. But as it continues to march eastward into more so eastern Kentucky, southeastern Kentucky, areas like London, that's where you have to extend that a little bit further to account for this storm system that is tracking eastward this morning. So if you are in that tornado warned cell here, you do want to make sure you seek shelter. And of course, that means finding a spot away from windows. If you have a basement, that's your best bet. If you don't have a basement, an interior room like a bathroom, a closet, a hallway, away from windows, lowest level of your home. And as I mentioned before, this is radar indicated. So of course we don't have eyeballs on this here in Greene and Taylor counties, but it's enough rotation on the radar to really trigger this and to be rather safe rather than sorry here. So northwestern Greene, northwestern Taylor counties included in this as the storm continues to track east around 45 miles per hour due to the potential of a tornado and also quarter-sized hail. So Campbellsville, you're right on the edge of this, but if it does get extended, you would be included in this. Allendale, Bloyd, once again included, Saloma as well. Willowtown, Badger included in this tornado warning. So we'll see if it does continue to extend eastward into Campbellsville later on as this tracks east around 45 miles per hour this morning. But we've been tracking this particular line or this particular segment of this line of storms that's been really packing a punch in south central Kentucky, south of the parkways here. And this is that area that we've had eyeballs on for the potential threat for this. We were talking about it yesterday into the overnight hours, and this is why marginal threats for severe weather, that level 1 out of 5 in that green color, can be super sneaky because all it takes is 1 or 2 storms. And that's exactly what we're seeing this morning. And because of that, that tornado warning has been issued for those areas that are currently seeing this storm and basically where this storm segment is headed this morning. In the pink here, tornado watch has been issued for the next several hours. So this is south and east of areas like E-Town, Hodgenville, Munfordville, Greensburg, Campbellsville, Lebanon, Springfield, Columbia. You all are all included in this tornado watch here. As I mentioned before, it's in place until 11 o'clock. They're just putting a broad swath on that because it includes eastern Kentucky, but our particular threat should really be over in the next hour or 2 at the most as we get closer to sunrise here. And in fact, if we do take a look at our hour-by-hour forecast throughout the course of the day today, this certain segment of storms that we're seeing this morning will continue to track east, southeast. You can see 7, 8 o'clock pretty much out of here. By 9, 10, 11, we're getting dry time in here. We're getting some, maybe some clearing off to the north. Then we could have another round of storms later on this afternoon and evening. I'd say between about 4 and 8 p.m. Unfortunately, it does look to be the same kind of areas that are seeing the stronger storms this morning. So south of the parkways, definitely south of the river there. And this will move out by about 9 o'clock. And a few of those could be strong to severe as well. We are under this level 1 out of 5. This is for the second round of storms today. We were under a level 2 out of 5 for this first round, and that's definitely showing up this morning with these few tornado warnings that we have been seeing. So big picture view, just a couple of warnings on the map. They're basically concentrated in the same general area here. And moving east, southeastward around 40, 45 miles per hour. So this basically stretches from Morgantown over to Campbellsville this morning in south central Kentucky. And the current tornado warning that we are watching is in place until 6:45 Eastern time. So this is for portions of northwestern Greene, northwestern Taylor counties as well, included in this particular storm. If I zoom down here, I'm going to see if there's any additional information. Radar indicated tornado, of course, other locations impacted in this, Bingle, Saloma, Mack, Hobson, White Rose, Sweeneyville, Allendale, Willowtown as well for this particular tornado warning. As we do see just enough rotation to trigger something on the radar this morning. So here's the big picture view. As I mentioned before, this is meteorologist Mallory Schnell. If you're just now joining us on Good Morning Kentuckiana, we've been tracking this line of storms for you this morning. And basically right at 5 o'clock, we had a severe thunderstorm warning that was issued for portions of Grayson County that ended up turning into a tornado warning. That first warning has since expired as this line continues to track eastward, but it's spinning back up. So we're seeing some spin ups and then some falling aparts, and some spin ups and some falling aparts with this line. And you can really see that with a setup like we're seeing right here, where there's not a ton of instability, there's just enough, and there's quite a bit of shear. So that's why our main threat that we're talking about this morning is an isolated spin up tornado. And we're continuing to see that potential for rotation on the radar this morning with these particular tornado warnings. I do want to draw attention to this particular storm though, even though it's not in our Kentuckiana viewing area. There's a lot of auto queries here, but this is for Edmonson County around Brownsville until 5:45. However, if it moves eastward here, it could be impacting areas like Munfordville, Horse Cave. That should stay south of Bonneville this morning. So that would be more so in Hart County there. And then this second storm, this one is in our particular viewing area. So you all do get our coverage here, which is why we're staying put with this storm system. Greene, Taylor counties included in this particular tornado warning. On the backside of that, still packing a punch with potential for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, quarter-size hail as well, with that severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect for the next couple of minutes. That's what you're seeing in the yellow. So anytime you see a map like this, yellow, severe thunderstorm warnings, red, tornado warnings. And that is what we are tracking for you this morning. I know it's been a while since we've had some severe weather here locally, so just some reminders of a watch versus warning, because now we do have both of them in place. We have a tornado watch in place for some counties, really our far southern counties there, the areas that are basically seeing the storms this morning and areas eastward. A watch basically means that severe weather is possible. You want to monitor the conditions, you want to be prepared. We have the right, quote, ingredients for severe weather to occur. But a warning means you want to take shelter, you want to take action. Severe weather is happening, it's imminent. And in this case, of course, we were talking about some tornado warnings, which does not necessarily mean that a tornado has been spotted by a storm spotter. However, that could sometimes occur a lot more often, especially overnight, early morning hours like we're seeing right now, is that we are seeing that rotation on the radar. So some tornado safety, if you're new to the area. Of course, you want to get to the lowest level of your home. If you have a basement, that's the best place to be until a tornado warning has been cleared through your area. If you do not have a basement, lowest level of your home, away from windows, a hallway, stairs, bathroom, closet. Those are great places to be in cases like this. And if you are under even just a severe thunderstorm warning, I know that's a step below, but they can still be very damaging with 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. As we know, that ground fairly saturated. We've had an active winter with quite a bit of snow and rainfall here locally. So it doesn't take much to cause some tree damage when you have saturated ground and very gusty winds as well. So once again, on this particular map here, your yellows, severe thunderstorm warnings, your reds, tornado warnings, and that's when you really want to seek shelter here. And this red tornado warning is in place for the next about 15 minutes or so for portions of northwestern Greene and northwestern Taylor counties. And at this time, this particular storm is moving east at 45 miles per hour. Radar indicated rotation here, and we are expecting this storm to be near Campbellsville around the next few minutes. So I'm going to put the radar back on. You can see even the areas not included in these warnings still seeing heavy rainfall, gusty winds, frequent lightning, as well as this entire line. It's tracking east, but slightly southeast. You can kind of see that general trend here, chugging along anywhere between about 40 to 55 miles per hour. And so that is some good news. You do want these storms to move quickly. If we're going to have spin ups, let's get them out of here as quickly as possible. And thankfully, these storms have been fairly quick moving this morning, but still very important to take them to heart and to find your safe place. Take them seriously, because anytime there is a tornado warning, that means a tornado can occur, and it only takes 60 seconds for something to kind of spin up there. I will say the little notch that we were seeing there does look like that has somewhat dissolved. Let me see if there is a new rotation scan with this. So that is moving. You see that right there around Saloma. north of Campbellsville. Let me see if I can put the warning on this. So I would expect them to continue to extend this. Let me check the National Weather Service chat, see if there's any updates from them. They like to keep us in the loop about whether or not they think they're going to extend these warnings with their eyeballs, what they have on it with different storm spotters and emergency managers here. But anytime you see reds and greens on a map together, it means a lot of times you're dealing with the potential for rotation, because one is toward, one is away the radar site, and if you have both of those together, you can get some spin in your storm. That's why we look at velocity. It tells you wind speed, wind direction as well. So here are these areas that we're dealing with, these thunderstorm warnings, tornado warnings as well. Campbellsville, I would go ahead and just get in your safe place. Better safe than sorry with this particular storm. Sonoma, it does look like it's over you at this point. So I wouldn't be surprised if they continue to kind of trim this off as it moves eastward. So a lot of times they'll trim kind of the west side of this off, areas like Allendale, Bloyd. At this point, it's past you. I can put the sweeping radar right on top, but you're still getting, of course, a lot of heavy rainfall, gusty winds, frequent lightning with this particular storm as well. So if you're trying to head out to work, I would give it just another half hour or so. You don't want to get stuck in this here as we do continue to track this line of storms. I will say, if you're joining us, you want to know what the weather is elsewhere across Kentuckiana, it's quiet on the north side of this. So Litchfield, you're in the clear. Those storms have since pushed off to your southeast. E-Town, Bardstown, you might be seeing a few spotty showers there. But we're basically looking at this one small corridor of the right ingredients coming together with warm temperatures and enough lift. You need several ingredients for severe weather, and we have just enough of each of them to see some of these warnings occurring this morning. So we're watching this latest one that is in effect until 6:45. Let me clear a lot of this noise that I have on here. Campbellsville, as I mentioned, I would go ahead and get in your safe place with this tornado warning in place until 6:45. And this is moving east at 45 miles per hour. So let me continue to put a track on this for you. This whole line eastward. Sonoma, once again, if it's not over you at this point, it will be within the next few minutes here. Campbellsville, stay in that safe place for the next 15 to 30 minutes. Mansville, 6:55. Middleburg, 7:22 if it holds together there as this continues to track east and southeastward here. Big picture view, I mentioned before, we now do have a tornado watch in place. Probably a good idea there, just because we are seeing enough rotation with this line of storms to where some of them are triggering tornado warnings. So that tends to happen. Of course, this is basically for Hodgenville, Munfordville, Greensburg, Campbellsville, Lebanon, Springfield, Columbia, and areas east and southeastward. I mentioned this, but it's in effect until 11 a.m. I'm sure they will continue to chip away some of these counties as this line of storms tracks east and southeastward. So you can see I put that line of storms on top of this tornado watch here. So I wouldn't be surprised if, as soon as some of these towns are cleared from this line, you will also be cleared from the tornado watch. So areas like Hodgenville, Springfield, a lot of this activity already off to your east and southeast. No new updates on the warnings this morning. It does look like the severe thunderstorm warning that we had around Brownsville that was stretching farther westward, that has been allowed to expire. We still are tracking these two warnings this morning. Once again, this tornado warning, 6:45 a.m., that is when it is set to expire as it continues to track towards Campbellsville throughout portions of Greene and Taylor counties. And then we also, on the south side of that, we have this severe thunderstorm warning in the yellow until 5:45 Central Time, so same time there, for Central Greene County and Central Hart County as well. This storm that was appeared on radar around Munfordville around 20 minutes ago, moving east at 60 miles per hour. So some of these storms have really big speed with them. And the threat there, of course, 60-mile-per-hour wind gust, and also we could see some hail this morning. We saw more of that overnight with elevated storms where it was a bit chillier. But even with the tornado warnings, you have the potential for some hail as well. But obviously, the rotation is the bigger threat that we are tracking here. I'm going to look at the big picture view for you this morning. For those of you just joining us on Good Morning Kentuckiana, this is meteorologist Mallory Schnell here. We have been tracking severe weather for you this morning. And in case you didn't know, anytime we do have tornado warnings within our particular viewing area, we do stay on air with you. It's called wall-to-wall coverage. We like to stay on air with you until these tornado warnings have cleared because we want to keep you safe. There are folks in our viewing area that are under these tornado warnings and they want to have the latest update. That's exactly what we're seeing. And we did see that extension of this particular tornado warning toward Mumfordville. Now, I will say Hart County is not included in our particular viewing area. If you do get our signal here, I would encourage you to tune into Bowling Green television stations. But Mumfordville is now included in that extension of the tornado warning until now 6 o'clock Central Time. So that's for the next 25 minutes. That's from the same segment of storms we've been watching that was first around Litchfield, Caneyville as well, and is tracking east-southeastward. So it's really just this particular segment of this storm system that's packing a punch. Greene, Taylor counties, you all are still included in this tornado warning for about the next 10 minutes here. And this has been in place for the last 20, 30 minutes or so as this tracks eastward. So we have a very conditional severe weather threat overnight and into this morning. We were watching that time frame between about 2 and 8 a.m. for the potential for some spin-up tornadoes. That's exactly what we're seeing this morning, unfortunately. Basically, we have a warm front that's lifting through the area, and that's giving us enough lift and just enough rotation and just enough, I would say, instability, because take a look at these temperatures here. So we have 40s off to the north, we have 50s along the Ohio River, and most of our Kentucky counties are in the 60s this morning. So even though it is February, you get enough of that fuel here, you get a lifting mechanism, something like a front, and that's how you can combine all these, quote, ingredients for severe weather. And that's exactly what we're seeing as well. Big picture view showing more of the extent of this warm air that's surging northward and has done so just over the last couple of hours. So we're tracking this warm front this morning, and then we'll have a cold front that swings through later on today. And in fact, I can take you through the hour-by-hour forecast. We'll take a quick look at the 7-day just for those of you all who might not be included in this tornado warning. But once again, portions of Greene and Hart counties are included in that tornado warning here. Greene and Taylor counties, excuse me, until 6:45. Hart County has another tornado warning. So over the next hour or so, you can see this will continue to track east and southeastward. Obviously, this is model data, so take it with a grain of salt, but this should be moving out around sunrise, definitely by 9 a.m. We get some dry time in here, and then we have another potential for some strong storms later on this afternoon and evening between about 4 and 8 p.m. south of Louisville, south of the parkways there. And that could bring heavy rainfall, gusty winds, maybe some hail. Not really looking at a tornado threat with that. At that point, that should be more so off to our east. And then drier skies. We take a breather tomorrow with some cooler air in place here. And your 7-day forecast, we do have another round of rain on the way come Saturday. It will be warm rain. We cool off Sunday. And really, we will continue to track that colder air in place next week. More consistent temperatures where we could even see a wintry mix or some snow as well. So this time of year, we can see these ups and downs. We've been seeing these ups and downs. And it does look like we do have a new update from the National Weather Service. So let's see where we're at this morning. See if anything is cleared for you yet. Oh, no, not quite. So if you're just joining us, we're tracking this particular tornado warning in place for portions of northwestern Greene, northwestern Taylor counties until 6:45 Eastern Time. As we've been seeing just enough rotation on radar to go ahead and trigger that tornado warning for you, and also to continue to extend that eastward, it looks like, as a severe thunderstorm warning. So Edmonson County, oh, that's the one that expired. I'm tracking real life updates with you guys right now as I'm trying to do this this morning. Northwestern Greene County North will expire at 6:45. So basically, the latest update from the National Weather Service is saying that at 6:45, they're going to go ahead and allow this particular storm that we've been watching for you in portions of northwestern Greene, northwestern Taylor counties to expire. And you can see where they've extended this yellow polygon here. That's a severe thunderstorm warning until 7:15 for the areas eastward as this storm continues to track east at 50 miles per hour. These storms are basically jetting along this morning. So reds, tornado warnings, yellows, severe thunderstorm warnings, and this salmon color that we're seeing on this particular map, that's a tornado watch that has been issued for this morning. And as this line of storms continues to track east and southeastward, I am expecting them to clear the northern counties off of this. So you can see the line of storms here. I would say Hodgenville, you should be in the clear at this point because all of this is moving east through Mumfordville over to Campbellsville, heading towards Greensburg as well, Lebanon, Danville, and obviously out of our particular viewing area, but stretching all the way up to Mount Sterling and the Ohio and West Virginia line there. So this line of storms has been moving at a quick pace between about 40 to 60 miles per hour this morning. We've been seeing just enough rotation within the storm system to trigger a few tornado warnings. And that's why we've been wall to wall with you this morning with weather due to the potential for that. And anytime you are included in a tornado warning, of course, you do want to seek shelter. You want to head into an interior room. You want to get away from windows. If you don't have a basement, a hallway, bathroom, closet, that is your best bet. And just a reminder, once again, between a watch and a warning, a watch means severe weather. It's possible. A warning means that you should take shelter. You should take action. Severe weather is imminent or it's currently happening. A watch that we've been seeing basically means that we have the right ingredients for severe weather and that you should be prepared. But a warning means, once again, take action. If it's in the means of a tornado warning, you do want to head to the lowest level of your home there. And with that second round of storms that we are expecting this afternoon and evening, you're looking at a level 1 out of 5 in the green here. It's basically south of the parkways where we could see a few strong storms due to wind gusts and also the potential for some hail. Tornado threat later on today, a lot lower. That'll be more so off to our east. For us, we're tracking that tornado threat for you this morning. So let's take you back to the radar this morning. If you're waking up and wondering, what is she talking about? It's not raining where I am. We do have several counties that are waking up to drier conditions after overnight rain. So thankfully during the overnight hours, we really didn't have any severe thunderstorm warnings that were issued. The storms did, quote, behave, as I like to say. That was until about 5 o'clock Eastern time this morning. At this point, you can see north of the parkways, southern Indiana, we're in the clear, Louisville Metro as well. But south central Kentucky, and this was the particular area where we had the best fuel for storms. You can see I put on what's called CAPE. That's convective available potential energy. That's basically weather talk for fuel for thunderstorms. And you're seeing, of course, it's lower end, moderate maybe. So this is kind of a low instability but high shear kind of setup. And anytime you have shear, wind shear, you have winds moving in different directions. And that's when you can get the broad areas of rotation. As long as those storms can make it to the ground, you are dealing with that potential for tornado warnings to be issued. And that is what we are seeing this morning. Of course, rainfall over the last 24 hours. We've gotten some impressive rainfall amounts from this. This is radar estimated, but you're dealing with pockets of potential ponding, maybe even some minor river flooding with rainfall amounts between 1 to 3 inches across Kentuckiana, especially this morning. Sometimes this can overestimate if there was large hail involved in any storm, but some impressive rainfall rates with some of these storms that we have been seeing. Big picture view now of the radar. Meteorologist Mallory Schnell tracking it all for you this morning on this Thursday. We've been tracking this weather impact alert warning for you due to several tornado warnings that have been issued with this line of thunderstorms here. The most recent, this particular storm system that we are tracking, this particular warning for Greene and Taylor counties, this should expire in the next minute or so. Does look like it was officially taken off here. So we can wrap up this tornado warning coverage. Producers, would you all like me to toss to break or toss back to the anchors? Let me know. We're going to take a quick break for you all, and we'll have more news and weather coming up after this. Thanks for tuning in.